How's everybody today? Pete here at Spawn Fly Fish, ready for another fly tying tutorial. Today we're gonna have a fun one. We're gonna tie a bumblebee. That's right, bumblebee. Who knew trout actually love eating bumblebees? So grab your vise, grab your tools. Let's have some fun. Let's start off with what's in the vise today. We've got the Ahrex FW555 in a size 12. For the bead, we've got the Spawn slotted tungsten football bead. This is a 5.5 millimeter in black. And I've got some weighted wire. This is 0.020 lead free. And I'm going to get 6 wraps on there. And this, of course, is not so much to add extra weight, but just to hold that bead in place. After I cut, I'm going to round over the cut with the inside of my cuticle scissor there. And it's a dedicated wire cutting scissor, gnarly material cutting scissor, whatever you want to call it, meaning it's not a fine tip or a razor sort of scissor. It is just for gnarly stuff. I don't want to use my good scissor and dull it up right away. That's how you do it. So as you can see, the bulk of that bead is on the underside, which will maintain a hook point up orientation for us when we're fishing this fly. Get some thread started. Just got some 6/0 black here and nothing to it. We do need to solidify these weighted wire wraps, and so we're going to make a couple passes. Here's an angled pass forward, and I'll do an opposite angled pass back, and then we'll do that again. And all we're doing is making sure that weighted wire has nowhere to move, because if the weighted wire can't move, the bead can't move, and our fly stays the same no matter how many greedy little fish try to eat it. And now I'm going to bring this back. As you can see, I'm going to work down maybe a wrap or two down where the curve begins on the back side of that hook. And that's it. Come back up, just a few wraps, and now we're ready to start. First thing we're going to do is we're going to give this bumblebee some visibility. And you can use whatever color flash you want. I'm a sucker for blues and purples when I'm fishing still water. And that's mainly what I'm tying these bees for, is still water. So I've got some Smolt blue Krystal flash. I took 3 strands and cut them in half 2 times. So that gives me 12 strands right now. But I'm going to veil it over the thread like so. You'll be able to see a little better as I come up to the hook here. So this is all those 12 little pieces veiled over the thread. Now I just lay that right down. And as I work it back down, it'll flatten out for me. And right down to where we gave ourselves that little indicator of where we want the tail to end. And that's it. You can see it has plenty of flash. It's going to grab attention, but I don't want it sticking way out. I'm going to shorten that up quite a bit. I'd say 1/3 of the body length maybe. Cut that at an angle. And that's it. There's our little, hey, I'm over here sort of flash indicator on our fly. Even though it's not a hot spot, it is a spot that they will see. Let's think in terms now of our body. We need a rib, typically going to be black. Of course, you could use any dark tone, but we're going to use today some Frostbite in black. And all I'm going to do is get this started so that I can trim out that little tag here when we're tied in. But I want this Frostbite to be doing 2 things. One, of course, it's going to be the rib when we're tying our fly, but it's also going to help create an even underbody before we get to that point. So that's why I want it tied up right against those weighted wire wraps. Now I can finish tying that down. Pretty even underbody already. I like it. So now for the classic bumblebee look, we need some yellow. And for that, we're going to use some hairline chenille. This is fine chenille. And like I said, this is just yellow. Clean a little tie-in spot. All I'm going to do is pinch this with my thumbnail and sort of pull some of those fibers off and expose the core. And so that gives me a stronger tie-in, as well as not creating a bunch of unnecessary bulk that we just don't need. So as you can see, I'm just grabbing some of those fibers there on the last few wraps and work my way up. I'll come back through for one more pass just to really make sure this stuff can't get anywhere. And there you go. So now it's time to wrap our yellow chenille, and we're not going to wrap all the way up, but you'll see as we go. Just make sure this is as dense as it can be without overlapping. So of course these are touching wraps, but we're just trying to build a nice chunky little body here in a short area. That's if there is a difficulty, that's it. Is bumblebees, you know, they can get pretty big, so don't be shy. If you want to go size 10, great. If for some reason you live in an area and you see just monstrous bumblebees, size 8 might come into play as well. You'll have to be the judge of what size you need in your local area. So that's already looking pretty buggy, but this is, in my opinion, where this thing comes to life. Just make sure your material doesn't come unwound or any of that good stuff. Maintain a little bit of that round effect, if you will. And there you have it. 3 wraps and it's ready to be tied off. So if you're asking me, up to this point, pretty simple fly. And of course we are just going to cut out our Frostbite. And if you don't have Frostbite and you don't want to buy a new material just to tie a couple bumblebees, of course diamond braid would work. Don't use flat. I recommend the standard diamond braid in black. Thread would work in a dire situation. Just be aware it's going to get lost to some degree. So now let me turn this bad boy over. It's time for some wings. Now I've tied a McGinty before on camera, which can work as a bumblebee, but for that you just use flash. Today we're going to use some saddle feathers. So these are the feathers off the back of a saddle that typically we only use if we're tying really big streamers or something like that and needs a really big wing. But turns out these things are great for tying these semi-realistic wings on bumblebees. Other flies as well, but today we're talking bumblebee. So I'm just going to work a section down. I've already removed the base of the feather. I don't want any real fluffy stuff in this. I just want some solid fibers. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to cheat a little bit, make it easier on myself, which makes it easier on you. So where I separate these downside fibers that will become our wing, I'm just going to take a thread wrap right over where I made that little separation. If I do this, now when I pull, I'm going to angle this back and on your side, if you will, and just until the top of that wing reaches the back of the body, and then I can give it one extra tug. And now let me finish tying that down, and a couple wraps forward, and voila, we've got one pretty cool looking wing already. So we're just going to repeat that, but I'm going to get rid of some of this extra fluff here just to give myself a little bit easier time seeing where I want this second one to go. So again, trim out all of that fluff. We don't want any of the fluff. And then start bringing the working fibers, or the ones we've chosen for the wing, and just start separating so that those stay down, and the rest, which will be our tag, will be facing the opposite direction. Same deal, get it sort of situated where you want that other wing. And I want this to kind of have like a 45-degree angle away from that other wing. Same deal at this point, I just need to slide that through there until it reaches roughly the back end of that body. And again, a couple thread wraps really solidify where those wings sit. Easy enough, looking pretty wingy, pretty buggy right there. Now we can carefully cut these out, and I say carefully because if you give this any tension, it's going to pull on that feather, and now your wings won't have the same shape. But is it the end of the world? Of course not. Believe me when I tell you, fish are very accustomed to seeing bugs in all sorts of different situations, meaning they're not all going to be perfect and pretty. In fact, it's usually after you've caught a few fish that some of your flies work even better. And so don't be, you know, disappointed if your fly isn't exactly perfect. So all I did there is cut off those tips. So now we have our wings tied in, and that's pretty cool looking right there. But I think we can make this look better. So let me flip it back over, and let's get ready to tie in our, and this to me makes it even a little bit more realistic of a fly. But this thorax is going to be key. So I've got 3 Herls of Peacock off of a peacock-eyed stick, and I want to get those tied in first. And I'm going to make sure all 3 stay together as best as I can. Get it tied all the way back there. Really strong tie-in, and of course remove those ends that we don't need. This is where it gets a little tricky. Now I'm switching over to the legs. For the legs, I've got some strung fuzzy fibers in black, and specifically I've got 7 pieces right here. And why 7? I've tied this with 3 legs, 3 on each side, and it looks very cool. But I started tying it with 6 legs per side, and it's one of those things where I don't know if the fish care so much, but to me it looks a little bit more realistic, a lot buggier. And so even though it might not be completely anatomically correct, again, it's not a realistic fly, it's semi-realistic. It's more suggestive of the real deal. And I want to keep these legs from the mid to lower portion of that fly, meaning I don't want them riding up into the wing. I want them on the lower side, if you will. So I've got those 7 strands tied in on my side. I'll just bring the remainder over of those 7 and get them tied in on your side. Great, nothing to it. So now we've got all those legs in there, but we don't want to leave them right there. What we're going to do is get your bodkin out. That helps a lot. And we're going to separate 2 of those legs, or pieces of strung fuzzy fiber. You can tell I spend too much time with my flies at home. I just call them legs. They know where to go. So I'm bringing the remainder forward with 1 thread wrap. Now I'm going to separate the remainder of those fibers. And again, I'm leaving 2 back here as the first set of legs. Now, when you're tying this at home, you do you. If you want to make it exactly 1 leg in each section, as far as 3 legs per side, great, do so. But again, once we finish this fly, you'll be able to see what I consider the buggiest version, and then you make your choice. So I got my fingertips wet now. I'm just going to gently spin up all 3 peacock curls, and it'll give us a much stronger rope effect and a much fuller look when we wrap it. So just be mindful of those legs. We don't want to disrupt those legs. We're going to take 1 wrap all the way around. So now that I've got that 1 wrap, I'm going to try to get my fingers involved. I'm going to undo the wraps on the front of those legs like so. So now I can bring 2 more back, and this is why I tie with 7 instead of 6. These things are a bit grabby to themselves, and so you just need to separate and then try not to let go of too much at once. And it's not easy every time, but with a little patience, you can separate those, get that wrap through there. Keep in mind, just maintain where those front legs will sit, and there we go. So now this whole time too, I'm continuing to twist up my peacock herl. So now I'm going to grab a couple of legs from my side, pull them back, try to keep everything as separated as possible. And now for these front legs, we don't have to do anything but get 1 more really good wrap of that peacock herl in there. And that's going to push up against those front legs, and you can still reposition. And that's why I don't tie them down with the thread. I just use the peacock to guide those legs into place. And now it's simply a matter of 3 good wraps, and we can trim out that excess peacock herl like so. reposition, make sure the legs are roughly where they're supposed to be as far as positioning. And now before I get to that whip finish, I'm just going to shorten up the front section quite a bit. And it's not that I'm trying to measure those legs right now. I'm simply making it easier for the whip finish, which let's get to that. So these midsection legs, you can pull back on them, get them out of your way for a second, and then simply a little bit of attention goes a long way. So make sure we've got that in the right spot. There we have it. And we can, at this point, just get in there and safely trim out our thread. So let's turn this thing back over for a second. And you can see just how leggy and buggy this thing is looking. So I'm going to get some head cement now on all those thread wraps. Don't want to do all this work and then forget that cement makes a difference. And when you think, well, the fish don't care, it doesn't catch more fish. Long term it does, because you're not switching flies just because your fly fell apart after a couple teeth hit it once. So there is that added bonus. Fly lasts longer, and I'm a big fan of a fly that lasts. So there we go. Got our head cement all the way around that thing. So now let's finish up our trim of these legs. So on this one, I've got 3 legs in the front. I don't need 3 legs in the front. I just need 2. And again, if you don't mind 3 legs, by all means leave it as that. But I'm going to cut these, roughly body length, not including the head or thorax. And once you've tied a couple of these, you make a decision on your own of what you think the best length is and all that. Let the fish be the ones that tell you. I've got that 3rd leg on this section, so I'm going to get rid of it, and then I'll be down to 2, and I'll just match up sort of those legs. Those last legs, I want them to reach to the back of the body, and that's about it. One more cut. This thing is ready for the box and ready for the lake. So there you have it. The semi-realistic Bumblebee with some really cool looking wings, just enough flash to grab their attention. And believe me, fish love these things. Whether it's panfish or trout, you won't be disappointed that you have a Bumblebee to offer, especially as it's starting to warm up. They're more active. They get blown into the water. And this one, of course, with that bead is going to slowly sink. But if you want, tie it without weight and fish it right in the film. Either way, the fish will find it. They know what to do. Namely, they put it in their mouth and eat it. So there you have it. Bumblebee, fun fly to tie, also a productive fly to fish. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We will see you all on the water.